Well, friends, it is time to say goodbye to fall. I know it's not even November, but right now, I'm getting ready to take all of this away. And one of my favorite Christmas movies is on. Hallmark started today, Countdown to Christmas. And that has really put me in the mood to start bringing out Christmas. So wave goodbye. Goodbye, burnt orange and shades of brown. Goodbye, cute jack-o'-lanterns. It's been fun. But you know, I've had this stuff, well, most of this up since August, mid-August. And I'm just ready to see more Christmas trees, not a fall tree, Christmas. So having said that, how about we take a look back at a few of my holiday Decorate With Me videos from the last couple of years, starting with the kitchen. Maybe you'll see something that you want to incorporate into your holiday decor planning for this year. Thanks for joining me for part 2 of decorating our kitchen for Christmas, including this whimsical tree, a little hot cocoa station, and a DIY project. Let's do something with this side of the kitchen. I went ahead and hung the gingerbread men. Again, I think they add just a fun little pop of whimsy. But now let's do something down here. I'm thinking a little hot cocoa bar. First things first, you gotta have your hot cocoa bar sign. I found this last year at Hobby Lobby. It's such a fun piece. I love that deep red with the contrasting white and that little scroll design. It's the perfect focal point. Next, I'm going to add in this basket tray. This will anchor my cocoa station. And I've had this for several years. And then to it, I've layered this dish towel. It matches the one that I used on the other side of the kitchen. So it just kind of pulls it all together. I'm going to add in this basic ceramic cake stand. Found this at Target Dollar Spot a few years ago. And I'm going to add this cute little canister. I love the red top. Once again, Target Dollar Spot. So now that I have my hot cocoa here, I want to add another canister, but I need it elevated just a little bit. I've had this forever, so I'm just going to hide it under this dish towel, and that'll allow me to elevate my next can, which has the marshmallows. So I might have to adjust this a little bit. So now that I have that, then I can add my canister. That'll be at a different height that has all of my little faux candy canes. And now I can add my coffee mug tree. And to it, I'll be adding these cute coffee mugs. I shared these last week in my decor haul. And then these adorable gingerbread mugs. With that done, now I can focus on the shelves. And no surprise, I'm pretty much going to duplicate what I did on the other shelves. And then down below to the peg racks, just adding a couple of towels, another cute gingerbread mitt, and the same gingerbread coffee mugs that I added to the other side of the room. Now, as you can see, I have a little bit of empty space, and I could leave it like it is, but I want to fill it just a bit. So I have two of these plates that match the coffee mugs that I added over on the hot cocoa bar. So I'm just gonna lay those right there. Actually, I'll turn them at an angle. And then I'm just gonna place this white lamp that I have. Now, I could leave it like that, or I could be kind of cutesy and adhere this cute little gingerbread fella to the lampshade just to give it a pop of color. But I need some double-sided tape, so let's see if he'll stick. He's probably gonna fall off, but that might be kind of cute. And then I also have more of this beaded garland that I can wrap around the base. I don't know if we're on the verge of tacky now or festive, but we're gonna go with festive. I may end up taking this away, but we'll leave it for now. And then lastly, I have a couple of Santa mugs left over, the larger ones and then these adorable smaller ones. So I'm gonna try something. This might be a fail, but we'll see if it works. Now I'm just gonna take this broken pick that I have. It fell off of something, and so I'm just gonna break it even further and take little pieces and just tuck them in the gaps. Now we're over on this wall. Our barn doors were a DIY project several years ago, but this little spot is looking mighty bare. Let's see what we can do about that. First, I'm gonna hang these plates on either side of the barn doors and just keep our fingers crossed that we don't knock them off. Plates hung. Now I'm going to hang two of these from the barn doors. I also ended up hanging this little bag, hot glued another gingerbread fella, and added some festive polka dot ribbon. Now I think these doors and this wall look a little bit better. Definitely more festive. Making our way over onto the island, I'm opting for one big centerpiece that involves this oversized basket tray. I found this several years ago at Home Goods. Then I've gone ahead and layered some red and white buffalo fabric right on top. First thing I'm gonna add is this cute tree. I love this container with the little, it's like the polka dots. And whoops, so to kind of echo that, I've added these ornaments. They remind me of ping pong balls, but I like how they tie in with that little pattern. Next, I'm gonna add this scalloped edge cake stand, along with this adorable oversized gingerbread house. And then I'm just gonna wrap this wreath around it, and I'll attach it in the back later. Then I'm going to add this tiny little plate that will serve as a base for this adorable Santa. My dad gave this to me many, many years ago, and he is my absolute favorite. I'll set him right there. And then lastly, I'm just gonna place some cookie cutters right here. I know I could put them on the tree. However, I have another little tree that's going over by our kitchen sink that will be full of cookie cutters, so I don't want to add them here too. Then I'll just slide it on over. And that is done for now. And then to each side of the island, nothing fancy, I'm just bringing back the colander that usually stays there. And then I'm going to add this really cute gingerbread dish towel. And then a plain white dish towel. But to it, layered in front of it, is this plaid oven mitt. Next, I'm going to take a quick break from decorating to do this little DIY project. Have you ever seen those faux cakes? Maybe you have one or you've made one before. I never have, and I've always wanted to, so this year I'm gonna go for it. Looks fairly simple. You just need craft paint of your choice. I went with this brown color, spackle, and then around, I'm just gonna call it a cake form. You can pick that up at Michael's. And basically all you do is paint this with the brown paint first, let it dry, and then add the spackle. Just spread it on like cake icing and just let it dry. I didn't get back to this till the next day, but the cake is finally dry. And now I'm gonna add the quote icing, which is the spackle. Basically, you just take a knife and spread it on, starting with the top. But you wanna make sure that you don't use the serrated edge or the ridged edge. You wanna go with the flat edge. It spreads on smoother. So here's the finished cake. Now you could add more and make it really fluffy with lots of icing, but I kind of wanted the messy, half frosted, half not, because I wanted a little bit of the brown coming through to time with the gingerbread. So now once it dries, it is quick setting. Once it dries, I'm gonna add a little embellishment to the top and then set it on the table. The thing I'm gonna do is layer this oversized cheesecloth and just scrunch it up. This is gonna serve as the anchor for the centerpiece. Then I'm going to place this wreath right on top. And then a short strand of fairy lights. And then the faux cake. I added a little bit of faux greenery on top just to give it a Christmas touch. And since I have berries and the greenery on top of the cake, I decided to go ahead and add a few to the wreath just to tie it all together. And then lastly, I found these beautiful glass gingerbread houses from Target. I have a little candle in there, but I need to find larger ones. Just gonna place one here and one. Confession, I had every intention of decorating this tree with you. However, the angle of the camera would have allowed you all to see the mess that's in the neighboring rooms. So I decorated it off camera. Here's the before. And here's the after. This is one of my favorite trees to decorate just because it is full of so much whimsy. To include a crazy tree topper, we have the little gingerbread fella right in the middle, surrounded by faux candies, other gingerbread, and then coming down we have little houses, little teacups, and some sentimental ornaments, like the little Santa cookie sheet from my sister. Admittedly, I love that this tree is the first thing you see when you come into our kitchen. It's one that I really enjoy decorating year after year. Okay, last little touch. I have several of these napkin rings, but I'm not going to use them as napkin rings. I found a different use for them. I decided to place them over each light of our chandeliers just to dress them up a bit. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll be back in a few days to continue decorating our home for Christmas. I hope you'll join me then, and I also hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. This week, it was a sitting room full of fall, and this week, it's an empty breakfast room just waiting to be decorated. Now, I did this because I love to play musical furniture, and since this room was a sitting room last year for Christmas, I decided to switch things up and turn it into a cozy breakfast room for this year's holiday season. First thing I did was bring in this console table from our foyer, sandwiched it right in between those cabinets. Hope it doesn't look too crowded. Then I slid the table and the rug right on over from the kitchen. I left the new cabinets there. Those will be really fun to style. And my husband still needs to climb the ladder to lower that chandelier back down. My goal is to fill this room with red, white, and green and give it a casual, cozy, cottage, Christmassy feel. Here's just a few of the things I'll be using. These cute Santa mugs that I've collected over the last few years, I think they'll add the perfect amount of whimsy. I have the larger green trees and the smaller white ones. I'm also bringing back these fun houses. The only problem is I have the largest one painted, however, I have two that are not, so it might involve a quick DIY project. I might bring in a few glass canisters. Of course, I'll be bringing in bowls and platters and plates. To the table, I'll be adding these pretty plaid plates, but I need to find two more large ones. Right as I was about to remove the command hook that held our fall wreath, I decided to leave it there and just hang this Merry Christmas metal sign on it. I found this at Hobby Lobby a couple of years ago. Now to balance the sign, I'm adding these Christmas trees. I believe they are 3.5 feet. Wasn't crazy about the base, so just plopped them right down into these ceramic vases that I had on hand. Now I'm just going to embellish these trees just a little bit, adding this dainty ribbon that I found, I think at TJ Maxx a couple of years ago, going around the tree 3 times. I know it looks messy. I promise I cleaned it up once I was off camera. And then the part that I don't need, once I wrap it around the base, I'm just going to tuck it right into that planter where you can't see it. Now I'm just going to add a few red balls, starting with larger ones that I will do at a diagonal. And then a few smaller ones, again at a diagonal. And while I didn't record it, I promise I added a few ornaments to the back of the tree as well. Let's speed things up a bit and do the same thing over on this tree. And on the table, adding the cake stand along with a woven charger so that it holds the gingerbread house a bit better. While I had full intentions of painting these houses as my quick DIY, time got away from me, so I promised to have them ready for my Christmas home tour. Now let's fill up these shelves. Time to bring in the canisters, but I'm going to add a bit of snow to them first. I like to use Epsom salt. You can get a large bag, really inexpensive, and I like how it glistens when the light hits it. Now I'm going to speed things up and do the same thing to this cabinet. Time to decorate the table and ignore that piece of snow that just flew out of the runner that I'm using as my base. Now I'm just going to layer a red one right on top just to give layer, dimension, and a pop of color. Since I have a lot going on the console table, I'm going to keep my table centerpiece pretty simple. Now these napkin rings are just temporary. I'm on the hunt for new ones for the holiday season, along with flatware. Now it's time for seating, adding the bench in the back because I can tuck it under the table since it's a little tight back there. And then to break up all the wood going on in here, I'm adding my slip-covered dining chairs, along with a comfy and casual tassel throw that has all of the colors going on in the room. Found these at Goodwill the other day. Steal of a deal, just going to give them a quick coat of paint. Far from perfect, but a little bit better. And I think that they'll be a nice addition in here for the holiday season. All right, friends, I have a few details in this room that I need to finish so that it is ready for the Christmas home tour that I will be sharing in a few weeks. I hope you'll join me next time as my Christmas decorating continues. Got my flocked tree ready to be decorated. I only left 2 chairs in here, brought in the coffee table and the love seat. Also brought in this mirror and the 2 wall sconces. Those were in our family room. Well, the wall sconces were in our family room, but I like how the gold ties in with the other gold accents. First thing I'm going to do is add a mirror. I still have the screws from the mirror that is usually here because I'm probably bringing that back after the holidays. But for now, I'm going to be adding a larger rectangular one. All right, the mirror has been hung along with this really pretty star from IKEA. It does have a light I could add on the inside, but the wiring got a little tricky as far as being visible, but I might go back and do that later. I also went ahead and added this flocked garland, tucked in some berries and twinkle lights, and then added the stockings down below as well. They kind of frame the Merry Christmas sign. I may end up adding a fireplace screen, but for now I guess I'll just go with this. Still need to add something to the top of the mantle, so let's go ahead and do that. So with the star up above, I'm just trying to create the little town of Bethlehem in this room. Then I'm going to add a couple of houses. Now I know it wasn't snowing in Bethlehem, but we are just going to pretend that it was. And then of course we have to have an angel. I actually have a pair. More houses. And then lastly, each side will get a little tree. Onto the bookcases. Going to continue what I did over on the mantle, bringing in a couple of the same trees, except these are larger, and I also have more houses. I recently purchased a couple of these from Walmart, and I think they'll be the perfect addition. I do want to elevate it just a little bit, so I'm just going to place it right on top of a book. And then down here, I'm going to add a couple of books. Along with another house. And y'all, did I mention that they light up? I cannot wait to see this at nighttime for my evening home tour. I love that the trees light up as well. But I guess I'll just turn them off for now. And then on the bottom shelf, I'm just adding back this basket. I had this here before, along with a textured throw. I love the little tassel embellishment. And if you've been hanging out with me long enough, it should come as no surprise that I'm doing the exact same thing on the other bookcase. I'm going to get started decorating our tree. I know it might look a little pitiful right now, but I promise I'll show it lots of love, and I want to have a bit of fun with this tree. Sure, I'm going to add a little bit of this beautiful ribbon, maybe some of this gorgeous ribbon, and maybe this one's got a little bit of gold. Do you want to have a little bit of fun on the tree as well? I might add some disco balls. These are gorgeous when it comes to reflecting the light in your tree and around the room. But first things first, a crazy tree topper. And there it is, almost done. I see a little bit of tweaking I need to do, but I ended up adding red and a darker green in this tree, which I had no plans on doing. But once I decorated the tree, I realized it was just missing something. So I took away the green ribbon I shared with you earlier, along with the waffle ribbon. I added the silver mesh ribbon. I did keep the snowflake ribbon, but I added red and white ribbon. The faux eucalyptus, again, was an afterthought, but I like how it ties in with the paint color. And I really like the contrast that the faux pomegranates and the red, and even this darker green, have with the flocking on the tree. So have you ever done that, where you've decorated a tree and then it's all done and you think, you know what, this is not working, and you end up taking things off and kind of starting over? Now let's do something with the accent chairs. I'm going to bring in faux fur rugs, borrowing these throws from the family room, adding oversized pillows and smaller snowflake ones. And then I'm going to do the same look over on the love seat. On the coffee table, I'm going to layer this leftover piece of drop cloth that I have, but I need to work on tucking the rough edge under a bit. And then I'm going to layer this blocked wreath. And then this really pretty piece I found a couple of months ago. And then the most important pieces. Now to do something with this little pedestal table. First thing I'm going to do is just layer this cheesecloth right on top of the tray, only because I just want a little bit of dimension or text. Then I'm going to add a couple of books and then a lamp. And the books just help me elevate the lamp just a little. And then I'm going to add this white base that I have filled with flocked branches, berries, and a little bit of silver, just to tie in with what's going on over on the tree. And then the final piece is this house. It matches the one that I added over on the mantle. So again, I've just tried to add elements that will tie in with what's going on around the rest of the room. A couple of finishing touches, and we're ready for a look around. working in today. I went ahead and did a few things ahead of time, and then we'll get started finishing. You can see I've hung a garland in various spots, added the Merry Christmas print up above, kept the sideboard here, and then added a mirror and layered a wreath. And then coming here, we just purchased this beautiful 9-foot tree. It's pre-lit, but I added one strand of twinkle lights. I would have added a second strand, but it burnt out. So I may order another one, another set of lights, but for now, I cannot wait to decorate this tree. And then coming around here, I brought in a second peg rack and then hung this beautiful garland on it and added the fairy lights. Don't worry, I will tuck those in and the battery pack will be hidden. I've got the settee here. And then I also purchased another one of those super soft rugs that I shared in my last video. I'll link it down below. It's such a fun, inexpensive, and comfy underfoot rug, especially for the season. And then to complement it, I have this rug over here as well. I'll link that one below. It's such a great runner, and I've used it all over our home. Now, if I swing you around this way, I'm about to show you the artwork, which is going to give away the theme for this room. Nutcrackers. You either love them or you don't. I try to incorporate them in a room every year for the holidays. And if you've been hanging out with me for a while, you know I love getting my artwork from Etsy. I'll just purchase the downloadable art and then have them printed at a local office supply store. The tree is from last year, and when I saw this fella, I knew he would be perfect. So I had 2 of them printed because I'm slightly obsessed with symmetry. And then here's a different angle of the foyer. So we have this little back hallway that leads to the dining room. You can see where I added the garland to the banisters. And then this piece here, I found this at an antique store in South Carolina years ago, painted it white. I had it in the basement for a while, but then brought it back up after I completed or finished adding the board and batten to the wall. So this should be a fun little piece to decorate as well. How about we start right here on the sideboard? I already replaced the runner I had. It was plaid, took that one away and opted for this solid red one instead. Going to be bringing in lamps, nutcrackers, and a few other things. First thing I'm going to do is to add a pair of lamps, one to each end. Next, I'm going to do something with the wreath. I'm going to add a few ornaments. I have the green plaid, the red, and then berries. Now I'm going to weave in some fairy lights. I have a lot of them, but my hope is to then feed them into garland that I will be adding down below. Now for the nutcracker, starting with this sparkly fella. He's going to go right in the middle, but I need him elevated a bit. I'm going to place him right on this book. Next, I'm going to place one of these on each side. I found these at Hobby Lobby. They were 50% off, but I love their faux fur lined capes. And then finally, 2 of these, one on each side. So now I've got my bling in the middle, and then the cloaks here, and then smaller ones here, but I like how they descend. Now for the garland, I have a few sections. It's kind of piecemeal, so this might be a little messy, but I'm just going to add it right in front. Kind of feed them around the nutcrackers a little bit. Now I went ahead and added the lights to the garland. I just fed it in from the wreath down here. And then I want to add some of the same ornaments that I added to the wreath. Fingers crossed that our cats don't knock them off. And some more berries. That's what I love about little picks. You can take an otherwise plain garland, inexpensive garland, and just embellish it however you want to. So now that I have all of this color in the middle, I feel like I'm missing something on the end. So I have this ribbon that you'll see later in this video. I'm just going to wrap it right around each lamp. And then to each side, I'm adding an oversized Nutcracker. I've had these for so many years. They need a lot of TLC. I can't even find their drums, but I had to bring them out anyway. Now to do something over here. So I have my Nutcracker prints to tie in with the Nutcrackers I added to the sideboard, but now I need to do a little something with the garland. First, I'm going to add some stockings. And then how about some bells? And then some berries. And then down below on the settee, first thing I'm going to do is add this faux rug to the back. This will tie in with the rug down below. And then these really pretty buffalo check pillows. In the middle, and this pillow, and I love this one. And then to the right of the settee, I placed this DIY blanket ladder, and then I left this rung empty so that I can hang this wreath. And hopefully it won't fall. But I like how it will balance with the tree that's on the other side. And lastly, down below, I'm just going to place this artificial pencil tree. And now it's time to decorate this 9-foot beauty. It's going to require me getting on a ladder, so I'll spare you that unattractive view. But first thing I'm going to do is add the topper. And my topper this year is going to be a little mixture of red, green, and gold. So I added the branches and stems down into the top of the tree. I still need to add more white, but I'll have to do that later. Now I like to do the topper first because they have such long branches or stems going down into the tree. I'm afraid it would knock off the ornaments. Okay, on second thought, before I place the ribbon, I'm gonna add in these oversized ornaments that I recently found. I have 6 of them, and I think they'll be a fun addition just scattered through the tree. And then for ribbon, I'm going to add in a really pretty plaid, this really plush red, and of course, Nutcrackers. So I went ahead and added the red ribbon first, just cascading it down the tree, in and out. No, set pattern, just in a wavy, haphazard pattern. And now I've just tucked in the Nutcracker ribbon here and there. I wish I had another bolt of it. I only had one, but that's when I thought we were having a 7.5-foot tree in here. This 9-foot tree was an unexpected purchase, so I'm gonna just try to work with what I've got. Now for a few ornaments. And then a few ornaments turned into lots of them, followed by picks like the gold eucalyptus and the green leaves, the white ones, the red berries, that kind. and this kind, and the frosted pine needles. And then after I was done adding ornaments, I thought this tree needs more ribbon. So I brought in the gold mesh ribbon, the plaid that matches the plaid on the lamps over on the sideboard, this ivy ribbon, and even a little bit of black to tie in with the black in the nutcrackers. Of course, I already see a few gaps that I need to fill in, but for now, I think I'm done. Okay, one last piece to style, and then we'll have a look around. Thanks for joining me today for a little look back. I hope you enjoyed the video and will consider subscribing to my channel. I'll be back next week to kick off all things Christmas 2024. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time.